Okay, so let's continue. So we left off placing most of our supporting loops, so now I think we are ready to start and add a modifier. Multi-resolution. Let's subdivide this 3 times. Yeah, let's do 3 times. And just turn on optimal display, just to make it easier on eyes. So you know what, I'm gonna go for 2 times. So let's set this to 2 times, just because my PC feels a little bit slow today. So, and if you want to get rid of like the third one, you can just press delete higher and then it will delete whatever was below there. But anyway, now with the wireframe on, it's a bit difficult to see. So what we want to do is we want to turn off our wireframe with the wireframe toggle. And have a look. So here, this is what you see when things are collapsed. So it looks like that we forgot to do those. Yeah, so that's something that we'll need to do right away. So just go into edit mode by pressing tab. And when you go into edit mode, it will automatically turn off any modifiers that we have applied most of the time. Some modifiers might come through, but most of them will be turned off, including this one over here. So I'm just going to place the easy supporting loops first. And now over here, what we need to do is we need to go to vertex mode, press K to go into our cut tool. And let's just go ahead and do that one. And also over here, corner. There we go. And the cool thing about this is also that we can just, as soon as we press tab, we can immediately see our result. So that's always nice that it will then automatically turn on again. So just makes our life easier. Over here, sometimes you can just completely continue, so you never need to stop placing the cut. And now that should do the trick. I can see that there's like a little problem here. I have a feeling the problem is because this edge is too close. See? As soon as we move that edge a bit further back, that seemed to have fixed the problem. So this outside over here, it's looking pretty good. Now it might be a little bit strange to look at, but remember, if you show your face orientation, nothing over here is actual geometry, so it's just a hole, so just keep that in mind. But I'm happy with that, that looks good. Now our corner over here, we wanted this to be smooth, so that's looking pretty good too. And now if we go over here, yeah, nice and smooth, good. I'm surprised how well it actually works. Normally these kind of things over here, where there are no connected vertices, they sometimes give us quite a few problems, but it looks like that this time it can recover. And now the nice thing about this is because we are making this for games and we aren't actually going to use this high poly next to baking, the geometry can just be messy and ugly. If this would be, for example, for movies, you probably want to go for much cleaner geometry because movie assets always need to be able to subdivide. Like, you need to be able to add more geometry to them. And you always want to keep things nice and clean. But this one, I would consider done. So let's continue with the next one, which is this piece. Now, for this piece, so this is round, which means that will just turn round later on. We can just do Ctrl R and we can do the Ctrl R one here and then one in each center and then another one on this corner over here. Now I am probably going to just place a edge here and here on each side, and this is more just as a precaution that when we smooth this, it doesn't become too round, so that it starts to fade away from our low poly version, because of course we do not want to have the shape change too much compared to a low poly. So I will first just go ahead and finish these over here. And this one is the same thing. You kind of just want to like place one on each side. There we go. And because there's no faces on the top and the bottom, they should not read in a low poly. So, sorry, I mean in the high poly. So these faces, they should not need like a supporting loop like this. Because when there is no face, it reads as if that there is nothing to smooth. So if we now turn on our multi-resolution, subdivide this like 3 times, turn optimal display, see? So it does not actually smooth. Compared to if we would create like a face over here, then of course it would instantly try to smooth it. But anyway, that's all looking good. So I'm already happy with that. Yeah, cool. You might want to just... Oh wait, auto smooth is turned on, so we don't need to worry about that. Now that's looking good. Okay, now we go for the big one. So, what I am going to do for this one is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to remove my mirrors, because we know that, well, actually, you know what? We don't need to remove our mirrors. What we need to do is we just need to go ahead and turn them off, which is these two buttons. Let's just turn off both these two buttons, so that also if we go into edit mode, they will not change. And we can go ahead and we can start by turning this into a high poly. And then it should reflect on the mirrors automatically. So seeing this, let's turn on wireframe toggle. Let's start by just some easy ones. So here we have 2 supporting loops. We have another one going around the center here and around the center here. Now in here, we can have another 2. So just to cover these pieces. And let's just do those on each side. Like that, okay. Now, of course, these are all considered corners. So we just need to go ahead and... we need to place some supporting loops here. The thing is, because we joined it, it might be a bit tricky to sometimes place some edges. But yeah, you can unjoin it and then join it back later again, but I find that a hassle. So I'm just going to see how far I get without doing that and just leaving everything in here. So see, I'm just going through the motions of placing our supporting loops like we always do. Oh, we already did that one. Over here we need a supporting loop. And over here, make sure that you do not have any edges in the bend, because that will not look good. Because then it breaks the flow of geometry. This one is cutting it quite close and then it kind of like stops over here. Let's press, didn't mean to press that one. Let's go ahead and press K. So let's do K and let's have, first of all, let's just close this line off over here, because from this point on we don't really need to have a support loop. And then I'm just going to place one line around here. Oh, of course, it cuts on top of our... that's annoying. So it cuts on top of our triangle. So maybe close it off like this. This is where it becomes a little bit annoying that we do not actually have these separate, I should say. But it's still not annoying enough for me to bother. So over here we can just go ahead and like place one loop here, 2 here. So same over here, 2 loops here, 1 loop here, and then 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom. And then this center line, just press I to inset it. These ones, we actually do need to go ahead and we need to create some centerpieces of those. But we will do those after we finish creating our mirror. So then we can apply the mirror and then we can create those things. Let's do Ctrl R, place 2 here. And for this one, here's a little trick. So I already showed you before with the bevel. We just need to place 1 cut over here. And as soon as you place a cut, this becomes a normal square, which means that we can now just go ahead and place these corners. And then over here, it's more like a matter of, yeah, like connecting these. I'm going to connect them like this. I'm just going to go ahead and just keep going from one side to the other. And then I'm just going to continue this loop. Instead of inserting it, it just feels easier for me to just do this by hand, like that. I'm going to press Ctrl R, place 1 edge over here. Let's do 2 edges here, 2 edges here. And then just, let's say, on the straight piece 2. And on this straight piece 2. And that should do the trick. So that will become nice and round. This one already has enough geometry for it to become nice and round. Let's double check that we have all of our corners, which we seem to have. Okay, let's not forget to do these. This one we already did. Oh, and we need to do this one. Okay, so we've gotten those. Okay, so now for our triangle, that one becomes a little bit more tricky because, of course, yeah, it's not an easy shape to just quickly add some edges. I think what we want to do is we want to get started by the time-consuming process of selecting every single face. So yeah, this might take a second to get white, but it needs to happen anyway. So just sit back and listen to some music while you're doing this or something like that. So we are going to select these faces, and then the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to inset these. And hopefully that inset will make our life a little bit easier because it will act like a supporting loop. Okay. And now I'm just going to go ahead and press I. Inset this as far as I can, and then over here just make sure that these do not collapse into each other. Now the next step would be to place 2 lines here. I think it's easier if we just use our scroll wheel, just to speed things along. Yeah, after that it becomes a bit annoying. So over here we probably need to go ahead and like do something like this on every single corner. I'll have a think if we maybe have like a quick way of doing it. But we will actually see how broken this is. Maybe the bevel on our corner already acts as enough of a buffer so that we do not need to worry about anything else. Oh, that's annoying. These ones are broken. Let's see, are these also broken? Yeah, these are also broken. Okay, that becomes annoying. That means that I'm going to just I'm going to do some separating for these pieces, just because else it becomes a little bit much. These pieces we might just do by hand still. It's more like that big piece. We can just go ahead and duplicate those, and same for this one over here. We can just well duplicate that from this one, but these single ones, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just quickly place these. And now, out of curiosity, I just want to go ahead and I want to turn on a multi-resolution, subdivide this 3 times, turn on optimal display. Yeah, I think that it might be just enough that it doesn't break too much, but I'm not sure. I think we I'm a bit like 50-50. I'm not sure. Let's first of all just quickly check the bigger shapes to make sure they all stay nice and intact. Here we have like a little problem. Oh, I can already see it. So just place a cut between those. Or not. In that case, maybe we can just do a target weld toggle and maybe like merge these together. Merge this one together. Come on, give me a break. In that case, let's press K and let's just place like a little geometry loop around this because it's collapsing into each other. So we just want to, there we go. We just want to give it like a little buffer. And there are multiple ways that you can give a buffer, but yeah, this one seems to work. So same over here, just like place a little geometry loop around it. There we go, so that fixes that. Those are all fixed, that is fine. So we got those pieces over here. I think I'm going to take the gamble and say that this is not too smooth, so it should work in the high poly bake. Now we can always fix it later on if needed, so I'm not too worried about that. Another thing is that over here I noticed that we forgot to place any loops on these ends. And then let's also go ahead and select this face, press Shift G, go planar, and then just press I. There we go, inset that. Over here you can see that it collapses a little bit. This is what I mean with it sometimes happens, and then you just want to place like one little edge there. here, see, and that kind of like covers it. Now it might not be needed because these edges will be gone when we symmetry this, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Oh, I forgot to place one edge down here. There we go. Okay, so we got those pieces. So for these ones over here, I think what we will need to do is we will need to go ahead and we need to, yeah, see, they don't loop around. So I think it's easier for me to just go ahead and detach those. So I'm going to select, let's say, this face. Come on, go to face select. There we go, this face and this face, and then I'm going to press 4, and I'm just going to go to Q selection, and I'm just going to focus only on these two because we can just duplicate the rest. So for these two, I'm actually also going to select this one, and then go ahead and press 4, Q and selection, and yeah, see here, because this is broken. So let's actually focus one by one. Let's start with this one. And the most obvious thing that I see is that we need to just press K and just place like a little loop around here to close this off so that it doesn't collapse into each other like that. The next step would be for us, and I don't know exactly why it doesn't just connect all the way. That is a little bit strange, but we can just do it by hand. That is no problem. There we go. See? And now for this one, Alt-I. So for this one, looks like that. It just completely ignored the rules I set for our inset. I'm going to just select these pieces and I'm going to merge them at center. So Q, merge at center. Let's do that for all of them. And then up here, we just want to go ahead and we want to select these four edges and press Ctrl backspace to get rid of them. And then we are just going to place our own edges here that are actually correct. So those will fix that. Good. Next step would be to place one loop here and one loop over here. And look at that. Now this loop also starts to look a little bit better. So I'm just going to place these two there, and then I'm just going to cut and connect these edges over here. Yeah, that should do the trick. That should do the trick. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is for these pieces, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of our modifiers that we have on them. I'm going to turn on the quick pivot because I can't find my pivot. For this one, I'm also going to just go ahead and turn off the modifier look. And then selecting them, turn off target while toggle. Let's not forget it. And select them and just kind of like duplicate them in your old positions and make sure that they are pretty much right on top. Now try and let's just press hide on those pieces so that now we can just select the pieces that we have just duplicated. And we can press Ctrl J to join them. And then do another quick pivot just for good measure. So having this one, I'm going to now go ahead and duplicate that and move it over here. There we go, exactly in the center. I'm going to duplicate this. Move these over here. And for this one, I'm just going to go to face select, select these pieces and press 4. And then delete them because of course we do not need those. Then I want to go ahead and duplicate these over here. And lastly, we want to duplicate these over here. Wow, is that so perfectly on top? Okay. Because it's often the flickering stops when it's really well on top. Let's go ahead and do face select. Select these few faces, delete them. Do the same over here. And now we are out of time, so in the next chapter we will go ahead and combine this back into this model and start with our mirroring again.